Many evenings, I would be looking forward to finishing dinner, and then I would lie down on my grandmother's lap. She would tell me a story. And when you spend time looking up at the stars and listening to your grandmother talk about something, a relationship of kind of fantasy and reality, it got very blurry. I was drawing and painting all the time. My mother said I would look at things and I would try to emulate whatever it was. It came to me, and I didn't really try to understand it. I just went with whatever impulse I had. We landed in San Francisco in 1948. We stopped in Wheeling, West Virginia. I was just put in third grade. I couldn't speak a word of English, and third grade was actually pretty steep. I think I was 15. There was a place called Ogilvy Institute. They encouraged the arts, and they had a ballet program. The teacher came up to me toward the end of the first season, and he said, I have nothing more that I can teach you, but you should have an exhibition, a one-man show. So he arranged for my first one-man show in Ogilvy Institute. I came to New York in 1958. Key with Pratt. I got a full 4-year scholarship. That was the beginning of everything, including New York. It was like going to heaven. Everything was like magical. New York City was magical. When I saw modern dance and ballet, the fact that dance could provide such drama, I was just overwhelmed with New York, and the idea of becoming an artist kind of challenged that I couldn't have even dreamed of before. Everything that I saw, I wanted to do. Pratt gave me the audacity to think that I could do everything. And that was like some kind of a booster, you know, getting a big push from the back. Everything is possible. This is a drawing of my mother and father, which I most likely did during my high school years. My mother helped my father a lot. Father was an idealist. My father would set up a school, and my mother would do all the teaching. She was born in Russia, studied in some of the best Russian schools that were available. What I could be naturally is an artist, but morally I belong somewhere else because of the work that my parents were doing. And almost an indoctrination. In order to have your life be worth anything, it had to be somewhere in a humanitarian kind of work. So I was confused. I felt, am I in the right place? What should I be doing with my life? My parents are running a school where the students learn modern methods of farming. So since it was my first return in 17 years, I thought I should do that. I should see if I could plant rice. I saw a group of students lined up and planting rice, and I joined in. There's a young soldier looking at me the whole time, and he called me over He said, "What do you think you're doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm just trying to help out." And he said, "We can do this better than you can, but you can do something that we can't do, and you can't do it here." So you should go back and do what you're good at. I was kind of confused, but relieved too, because it was he was giving me permission to rethink my future. Okay, as soon as I get organized here, I'm going to try to explain why welding. Why did I choose this particular way of working? I went through all of the other classical methods, working with clay, plaster, wax. And believe it or not, welding is a very simplified way of working. In sculpture, you always have to make something stand up. And it just so happens that steel is very good at standing up and holding up. This is a couple of thousand degrees, and you can put a hole into a piece of steel. Because of the intense heat, you can cut and weld at the same times. So basically, you want to bring two pieces of metal. You have to bring the two pieces of the same metal to the melting point. And then once you do, you just fuse them together. So it's like brushing paint. You mix the molten steel with molten steel. But when you're using combination of different materials like steel and brass or something, the technique is called brazing. You use a silver rod and bring the two pieces of metal to the melting point of the silver. Use a flux, which is a chemical. It makes it possible to clean the metal. When you bring them together, the two metals will fuse. And the same thing is true with solder. I did a lot of soldering and brazing, but if you want to keep a steady rhythm of weld and cut and weld and cut, welding is the easiest way to do it. Almost any material has a partner that can be welded together. For me, it was a rhythm of working with the same material and having basically the same tools that you can use for bending and cutting and so forth. Subconsciously, I like the fact that the steel is like working man's metal. It's not gold or silver, but it's strong, it's resilient and malleable. I was attracted to kind of a working man's metal. For me, just movement of anything, athletes, dancers, gives me like the beginning of a melody. How different parts move, really beautiful to me, and It might be interesting to break down the movements because if your form is not working, somehow your strokes don't work. And it's great to watch good players with good form. Each shot is part of a sequence of shots. And again, it's like a beautiful sentence. The way you interpret things will help you to begin. Each part has to relate to something in the space or into some form. And so when you look at one thing, you're also seeing something else. So it's almost like an echo. Somebody says hello and the other one says hello. There's a tension between those two hellos. Then you can change the formula as you go. Involution, does have those qualities where the inside becomes the outside and outside becomes the inside. So it almost fulfills a title. I wanted to have an understanding of the universe. And I love the way that artists or scientists talk about the universe. So I've played around with topology. It can be real, but it can't be real. You can imagine a three-dimensional version of a Mobius strip. And there is such a thing called Klein bottle. It was fascinating to me. I kept trying and trying, and that's a result of that trial. I think the pursuit is more complex than people realize. I was doing something a couple of days ago, and I was asking myself, what are you after? What are you looking for? There's a strange way that an artist has to deal with truth, and it's not like an absolute truth. It has a lot to do with you and the way you see life, what you value. If you have an idea, that's great. If you don't have an idea, you begin by joining two pieces together. The piece itself knows when it's over because it doesn't need you anymore. And it doesn't just come. If you're lucky, you'll recognize what the conclusion is, and that's the ending. And that's also the beginning, because it'll lead you to another one.